Hello everyone, back tuning into today's video. Got some big question marks coming up about the weather in the coming few days. Low pressure coming up from the south, running into cold air. Could see some significant snow in some parts of the country. But where that snow is going to occur, well, there's big question marks about it. It could be Northern England and Scotland. It could be a little bit further south than that, maybe parts of Wales and the Midlands. We're just really not certain. I'm going to run through the charts through the video to explain what's going on. Now, before I go on, I just want to mention the advertising. There'll usually be a video ad sitting underneath my video player here at GazWebBits.com. Please play those ads. You'll be supporting GazWebBits.com by doing that. So we're going to start off with the facts charts. Remember, the facts charts are the human interpretation of the models by the forecasters at the Met Office. This is the facts chart for lunchtime on Thursday. We've got low pressure here out in the Atlantic off the coast of Portugal. Got cold air established over the country, of course, and we're going to push these weather systems northwards in towards that cold air. So as we go through Thursday, we're going to have a weather system coming into the west that will be bringing heavy rain initially to many parts of Wales, southern, southwestern England. But as that runs into the cold air, it could give us some temporary snow for parts of England and Wales. So as we move on into midnight on Friday, we find that we've got a warm sector moving up across the country. Now, behind this warm front, we're definitely looking at rain. There's no two ways about that. Really quite mild air indeed coming up behind that warm sector. As we move through into lunchtime on Friday, the facts chart actually takes that warm sector right up towards southern parts of Scotland. So this would see snow turning to rain across much of northern England. There would be a temporary fall of quite heavy snow across northern England, but it turns back to rain. And as I say, we take that warm front, or the warm sector, up towards the far south of Scotland. That's where the triple point is on the low. The triple point low, remember, is where we get three weather fronts coming together in a triple point. It would be to the north and the east of this triple point that we'd have the risk of snow. So that really brings in the bulk of Scotland. But how far north this warm sector is getting, I'm not entirely convinced that the facts chart has this right. This is this morning's GFS model, and if you think about this, the yellow area here in the upper air temperatures is where that warm sector is. So this is for 6 o'clock in the morning on Friday morning, and we've got that warm sector across most of Ireland, Wales and southwestern parts of England. To the north and the east of this, we're not in the warm sector, we're on the northern and eastern side of the warm sector, so we're really on the triple point to the north and the east of that yellow area. Now, as we run through the charts, let's see how far north and east that yellow area gets. Well, it's not getting much further north and east actually at lunchtime on Friday than it is at 6 o'clock in the morning. So again, this implies that we're just limiting that warm sector more to the south and west, and we're keeping the triple point further south than the facts chart certainly would tell us we're going to. As we move through to 6 o'clock in the evening on Friday, again that warm sector is really through Wales, parts of the Midlands in towards East Anglia. To the north of this, which is particularly important, I think, for northern England, we're still on the cool side of the low pressure, so we're still having the risk of snow here. I think for much of northern England, certainly for Scotland, there is the risk of significant and substantial snow. And as we go into midnight on Saturday, that warm sector then actually starts to slip away to the south and the west, as the cooler air begins to come back in from the north. So the warm sector never really gets further north than the Midlands and Wales on the GFS 6 o'clock run. Certainly that is important, I think, for northern England, where we could keep the snow going throughout the system, and it would be heavy snow really, with the risk of disruption for northern England, certainly for Scotland as well. So it's one to keep an eye on. Now, the ECMWF limits the warm sector even more than the GFS this morning. The ECMWF limits the warm sector, which again, remember, is the yellow area here, to Ireland, to the far south of Wales and southwestern England at midnight on Friday. We can only go through 24-hour steps with this, but if we go through another 24 hours, we can see that the warm sector has actually not really progressed much further north to midnight on Saturday, 24 hours later. So this would probably bring the risk of snow even to parts of Wales and the Midlands through the course of Friday. Certainly for Northern England and for Scotland, we keep it very, very cold up there with that strong southeasterly wind blowing. There would be drifting of snow, disruptive snow for Northern England and Scotland. But even for Wales and the Midlands, I wouldn't rule out quite a bit of snow based on this morning's ECMWF, with that warm sector really being limited to southern parts of Wales, southwestern, southern England and southern parts of Ireland as well. And as we go beyond that, then the warm sector slides away and we actually start to reintroduce this very, very cold easterly wind coming in off the continent, and that's really what we see from the ECMWF then through next week. A quick look at next week's charts shows that we've still got the high pressure there to the north of the country blocking on Sunday, the low pressure to the south with bitterly cold easterly wind blasting in across the country. Moving out to Monday and beyond that in towards Tuesday as well. Yes, we're keeping it very, very cold with that easterly wind bringing in the cold air off the continent. Another area of low pressure by the middle of next week attempting to move in off the Atlantic, but again this one hits the cold air and just slides away into France. So yes, the ECMWF keeping us locked into this very, very cold weather right out to the end of next week, Friday the 29th of March, which is Good Friday, by the way. It'll be a cold start to Easter with generally an easterly flow going. Look at this area of low pressure forming around Norway. That will probably dive through the North Sea and bring a strong northerly wind if that came off. But in any case, that's very speculative. But the idea from the ECMWF this morning is to keep it cold through next week. And the GEM, the Canadian model, again, also with the high pressure blocking up to the north at the start of next week, that very cold easterly wind coming in across the country, moving out towards Tuesday. Well, yes, the easterly is still going there across England and Wales, probably bringing a trough in there off the North Sea. That could be bringing snow showers to England and Wales, and beyond that in towards Wednesday the 27th and Thursday the 28th and Friday the 29th. We keep it very cold across the country with hard overnight frosts and more wintry weather going. Now the GFS this morning, and for the last couple of runs actually, wants to turn it milder next week, wants to break down the block and introduce an Atlantic flow. I'm not sure about it. The GFS is going for it quite consistently, so it is certainly something to keep an eye on. But my guess is that the ECMWF and the GM probably got this about right and will keep the cold weather going, certainly through the first half of next week in any case. So that's what we've got to look at really. We're looking at the chance of disruptive snow over the next few days, particularly Friday into Saturday, but where that disruptive snow is, it's very hard to pin it down. Northern England possibly for a time may turn back to rain, may keep it of snow. Scotland definitely at the risk of snow. But as we go through the next few days, what we may find is that warm sector gets pulled further and further south. That tends to be what happens as you get low pressures coming in from that sort of angle, running into cold air. Very often the models will trend it southwards over the course of the few days as you run up to the period. So my suspicion is that Northern England is going to get a pasting with this snow, and it may not turn back to rain. Even for Wales and the Midlands, we're probably going to be looking out for the chance of some snow, certainly on Friday. So it really is one to keep an eye on this. I'll be keeping updated. I'll be trying to do a 5-day forecast, where it's going to be difficult not knowing where that snow risk is going to be. But I'll be attempting it anyway. That's it for now. Thanks for watching.